Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm bringing you a beginner's full body kettlebell complex. A kettlebell complex is when you take a series of exercises, perform the prescribed reps of those exercises, one after the other with no rest in between exercises, using the same kettlebell for all exercises. Kettlebell complex's main focus is going to be on conditioning and muscular endurance. We can certainly build muscle and build some strength when we really push the weight with complexes, but again, the main focus is going to be on longer duration time periods, which is going to help improve our conditioning, improve muscular endurance, and torch calories. So we're gonna be shredding that unwanted body fat using complexes. For this complex, we have 4 different exercises. You're gonna perform the prescribed reps of each exercise, again, one after the other with no rest in between, using the same bell for all exercises. Once you finish the final exercise, that's when you take your rest period. So we're gonna be resting 1 to 2 minutes in between sets. We're gonna be doing 5 total sets of this complex. I'm gonna walk you guys through every single exercise, showing you how to perform all the exercises with proper techniques. You guys are moving well, moving safely, and getting the most out of this workout. After I break down all of the exercises, I'm gonna showcase how to perform the kettlebell complex at the very end of this video. So make sure to stay tuned, watch the entire video, and watch the end so you guys can see exactly how to get this done properly. Exercise number 1, we have the kettlebell deadlift for 5 reps. So we're gonna start off, feet are gonna be about shoulder width. I want the handle of that kettlebell cutting across the midfoot. We don't want the bell too far underneath the body. We obviously don't want that bell too far away from us, which is gonna pull us out of position. So get set up, feet are set up, the handle of the bell's cutting across the midfoot. From here, we need to understand that the kettlebell deadlift, or deadlift in general, is a hip hinge movement pattern as opposed to a squatting movement pattern. So what I want you to do is essentially karate chop at your waist, which is gonna push your hips back, slight bend of the knees. This is a hip hinge as opposed to a squatting movement pattern. So understanding the difference is super important in our training. So we're gonna hinge at the hips, we're gonna lower down, we're gonna grab the handle of the kettlebell. From here, I'm gonna pull my lats down and back. So I want you to pull tension into the lats. I'm just gonna straighten that back out. I want your spine to be neutral. So I see this way too often where people are cranking their necks like this. Keep that spine neutral throughout the movement pattern. From here, I want you to load up the hamstrings and glutes. So there should be tension in the hamstrings and glutes as I pull those lats down and back. Then I want you to brace your core. So take a deep breath in, brace your core, stand tall, making sure that your chest and your hips rise at the same time. So what I mean by that is we do not want to have our hips go and then our chest come up. Chest and hips rise at the same exact time, driving down into the floor. So we're pushing down into the floor as we pull that kettlebell up. Bringing the hips to neutral. So we see this way too often as well, where people overextend at the top. Just bring your hips to neutral, squeeze your butt at the top, and then lower down the exact same way that you came up. So push the hips back, so we have that hip hinge, lower down to the floor, keeping full body tension. Then we go right back up into our next rep. So remember, take that breath in, brace the core, exhale at the top. Exercise number 2, we have the kettlebell power clean for 5 reps. So this, we're gonna build off of that deadlift. So we start off with the deadlift with the power clean. So same exact setup. So feet about shoulder width, having that handle of the kettlebell cutting across the midfoot. We grab the bell, lats down and back. We load up the hamstrings and glutes. We're gonna then jump that weight up into the front rack or goblet position. So we break this movement down. It's a deadlift to start. Once the hips get to neutral, that's when we high pull. So we shrug and pull while jumping the weight up with the legs. So we extend the hips, jump and pull. Up into that front rack position, elbows nice and tight to the body. So that bell, so we're grabbing the bell tightly, but with a little bit of a loose grip so that we can slide the hands around the bell. So we're here, this is an explosive exercise. So deadlift, then jump, shrug, and pull that weight up into the front rack position. Exercise number 3, we have the kettlebell shoulder press for 5 reps. So you performed 5 deadlifts, you performed 5 power cleans. Now we have 5 shoulder press. So when you finish that 5th power clean, we're gonna finish right in that goblet position, and this is where we're going to press from. So the most important thing with any kind of shoulder press is that we're bracing the core and squeezing the glutes. So it's important to do both of those things, not just brace the core, but really squeeze and contract your glutes, which is gonna create a strong brace around your trunk to protect your back while pressing. So core is braced, glutes are tight and squeezed. We're gonna press overhead, keeping our ribs pulled down as much as possible. So we wanna avoid flaring the ribs like so, keep those ribs pulled down, and then lower down with control. So we take the breath in, brace, exhale at the top, and as you lower down as well. And for our 4th and final exercise, we have the kettlebell back lunge. So we're gonna perform 5 reps on one leg and then 5 reps on the other leg. So we're gonna finish the shoulder press right in that goblet position. So once we finish that last shoulder press, we're gonna lower that bell down, holding it in just one arm. So if we're holding the bell in our left arm, we're gonna lunge and put most of the weight on this left leg. So we're gonna step back with the opposite leg. So we have all 5 reps on one side before moving on to the next. So chest up, nice and tall, shoulders pulled down and back. We're gonna take a big step back. From here, we're gonna lower straight down so that back knee lightly touches the floor, keeping good posture throughout. So we don't wanna let that chest fall forward, keep the chest up as much as possible. We also wanna drive this knee out on the front leg. So we never want the knee to cave in on our lunges. Drive that knee out to really engage the glute on that side. So big step back, we lower down with good control so the back knee lightly touches the floor. Don't just slam your knee down, lightly touch and then drive up through the quad and glute on this front leg to stand tall. So we brace before we go down. Exhale at the top. So again, once you finish 5 reps on one side, you'll switch the bell right away and then 5 reps on the other side. Now that you guys fully understand how to perform every exercise with proper technique, let's talk about how to warm up properly for a kettlebell complex like this one. So it's very important to utilize warm-up sets to figure out what's a good weight to use. That's one of the most challenging things for beginners and people that are newer to working out, is figuring out what the best weight to use is. So we're gonna start off. Our first warm-up set, we're gonna go very, very light. I want you to run through the entire complex. You do not necessarily have to do 5 reps of each exercise, but at least 3. So 3 to 5 reps with very, very light weight. As soon as you finish all your reps, you'll take a very, very short rest period. For the second warm-up set, you're gonna bump that weight up a little bit, maybe 10 pounds, run through the complex again. Once you finish, another short rest, bump the weight up a little bit more, run through the complex again. So at least by that second and third warm-up set, you should start to get a good gauge on what's a challenging weight for you. The most important thing is that you're lifting as heavy as you can, so each individual is gonna be different, lifting as heavy as you can while maintaining excellent technique. So if you cannot maintain good technique, you're going too heavy, bump that weight down, make sure you're using a weight that's gonna be challenging, it's gonna push you and test you, but again, allow you to maintain excellent technique throughout. So 2 to 3, maybe even 4 warm-up sets, then you'll start your working sets, your 5 working sets of this workout. All right, you guys are now warmed up and ready to get after this complex. So I'm gonna demonstrate this in real time so you guys can see the pacing I want you guys to keep, as well as the technique, etc. So again, we start off 5 kettlebell deadlifts, get set, lats down and back, 5 reps. So nice and controlled, perfect technique should be the main focus. 4, 5, now we have power cleans for 5. So jump that weight up the lower body. Keep that kettlebell nice and tight to the body. 3, 4, 5. We brace the core, squeeze the glutes. 5 shoulder press. Keep the ribs pulled down. 3, 4, 5. From here, lower down to one arm. 5 back lunges, keeping the chest up nice and tall. 2, 3, 4. Nice and controlled. 5. Switch sides. Take a second, brace. Hit the other side. 2, 3, 4. Last rep. And 5. So once you finish that 5th and final rep on the lunges, you're gonna rest 1 to 2 minutes. You're gonna do 5 total sets for a killer full body workout. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments. And until the next video, let's go.